All right, click the links. Join the channel here over at Subscribestar, Odyssey, or Rumble. So, I kind of think I figured it out. It's not, people like you are not the problem in America. We're going to be the solution in America. The people who say we're the problem are the problem. So the HUWHITE people are the new face of Istaphobicism, says the Equalizer show. Press F to doubt. I would just love to see some evidence of this, and maybe we could compare and contrast different pieces of evidence. So cultural Marxism marches on, and it will continue until we stop them. And if anything, I hope Hollywood continues to accelerate, because, these aren't the old days where media was a monologue, a one-way flow of information from the TV, the idiot box, to the receptive audience. It's different now. You've got, with a cell phone and an alt platform, you got people online now who have got huge networks out there. We're able to counter a narrative, and we put it out on Odyssey and all these. There's dozens of these other platforms, and you reach across and you influence a couple hundred people here and there, and they start talking to people. The information is getting out there, and it helps us when we can just provide so much evidence of how evil these people are. And they are evil. They're the problem. We're not the problem. We never were the problem. So their messaging is so ridiculously over the top that anyone who is paying attention is able to start seeing what is going on. These people just hate you, and they want to foment as much discord as possible. They want you to focus on these tribal type of issues and ignore much bigger, more relevant issues. Like, wasn't there an issue in Ohio, and the president and the first lady didn't go out there at all, and it took like 2 or 3 weeks for the secretary of the Department of Transportation to go out there? Oh, that's weird. That's weird. How come the president didn't immediately fly out there and talk to the people? kind of weird. Like, he doesn't want to shine attention on the situation in Ohio for some reason. Or like, how come he didn't go to the border? That's weird too. A lot of these things are weird. Or the banking situation where the bankers took the risks, but they got the benefits also. But when it fails, you, the taxpayer, pays for it, either directly via taxes or indirectly via inflation. It's not insured over 250K FDIC. So that's part of the risk of you're assuming the risk with that investment vehicle. Except you don't really assume the risk when the taxpayers will pay for it. Oh, that just seems like that's criminal, because they get the benefit, but the taxpayer takes the risk. That doesn't make any sense. It does make sense, and once it makes sense, then a lot of other things start making sense too. And the thing is, it's not just inflation. You can go back to 1913 and the Federal Reserve and take a look at what a dollar bought back then, and why is a dollar worth about 1% of what it used to be 100 years ago? Doesn't that seem, it seems odd that so many people just accept that. Like, shouldn't a country have a stable currency? Shouldn't the West in general have stable currencies? Doesn't that make anyone curious? Quick, more video games, sports ball, and soy slop. Trust the plan. Someone else will solve this. Except that the people in charge have made it worse for 100 years, so, Hollywood has shown us how they grow the tall grass theory works. You keep people, is it like Hegelian problem solution? Keep people as distracted as possible so they're always in a state of panic and anxiety. So they're going from one emergency to the next one. The news is this 24-hour propaganda machine designed to keep you in this high anxiety state of a panic attack, to keep you off balance. And over the issues of the past 3 years, I didn't panic and you didn't panic because we weren't watching mainstream media. If you didn't watch mainstream media over the past 3 years, you wouldn't have noticed anything else. You wouldn't have noticed anything was different. That's how badly mainstream media lies in the government also. Remember some of those government quotes that Biden came out? It's like, now is the winter of our discontent. Remember his quote about the winter? The winter time was coming? What a weird thing to say. It's like, did it come to pass? No. He lied. He lied about many things. So I saw other people panicking. I thought they were a little bit crazy. They were glued to mainstream MSNBC, CNN, and like sheep, they believe the government and the media. Quick, put some panties on your face when you're out bicycling alone. You look at people like that. I remember, like during the height of it, you out walk the dog in the afternoon, you see people out bicycling and they're wearing that stuff, and you're like, what are what are you doing? Why do you trust the media so much? That's a good question. I used to love asking people in the YouTube comment section. Why do you trust the media and the government? Because you don't have an answer to that. Because, when you stop them, you remind them, hey, the media and the government lie all the time. They pause because they know it's true. Like deep down, they know. And then they say, yeah, but they're telling the truth now. Well, my friends in Christ, why would they start telling the truth now? Well, because they made me afraid. Yeah, but they made you afraid, but they have a history of lying, so your fear is not rational. You're gonna have to just wash that fear away. If the source that made you afraid, if their argument is, well, we remove liberty, we make people afraid so we can remove liberties. So if we just remove a little bit of liberties, we'll take you out of this fear. And then you think, well, so you're just gonna make people afraid to continue removing liberties whenever you want. It seems like there's a flaw in your logic there. What if we weren't afraid? What if we just acted calmly and coolly and didn't trust the government or media? What if we asked for evidence? How about we go back? What happened to the left wing? What happened to the left wing? Well, they got subverted and corrupted a few years ago. Anyway, so first of all, I find it shocking that anyone watches anything anymore. I see what the idiot box is offering the sheep, and it's just shocking that people would voluntarily watch this propaganda. The only thing that explains it is that the average IQ has been dropping for the past 20 years. Amerifat is turning into idiocracy. The white pill is people are watching less mainstream media and tuning into more alt stuff, which drives the puppet masters crazy. They get outraged when they lose control of the narrative. Perhaps you remember Nina Jankowicz and the Ministry of Truth? Yeah, that all actually happened. 1984 is a guidebook to them. Anything the mainstream media puts out is going to be a narrative. It's not always 180 degrees from the truth, but a lot of times it is, but it's always going to be misdirection. If you have a belief and then you question yourself like, oh, where did I learn this? Did you learn it from multi-source books where you investigated the author's bias? Or did you learn it from Hollywood, TV and movies? Like, oh, if I learned something from Hollywood growing up, it's like, I just assumed it to be true. You saw it on TV. It's like, well, you don't know anything. You know what they want you to know, and that's misdirection. It is not any relation to the truth. And then they start getting offended when you say the media is lying to you. And that's becoming a far right dog whistle to say don't trust the media. But the left wing used to say that too. What happened? It's like, oh, well, the left wing got subverted and corrupted, and now the left wing and the mainstream media, it's like they're all just raging for the machine together. So the MSN puts all the focus on hatred of people who look suspiciously like you and I. This is where they want you to put all your emotional energy. Don't look at any other group. Just those wacky blonde people. The truth is, European Americans are not the problem. We never have been. We're the solution. When people calm down enough to put their emotions aside and drop the straw man and the ad hominem, like if these people couldn't have ad hominem arguments and straw men, they wouldn't know how to talk to you on social media because that is all they know how to deal with. They build up an argument in their mind, something you didn't say, and then they attack that argument and knock it down. You're like, hey, congratulations for knocking down a fictional argument, but that's not what your opponent said. They said this, and you still haven't addressed it. You deflected, and you built up a fictional argument, which kind of leads us to believe that perhaps you couldn't address their argument. So you're staying very comfortable in an ad hominem world. They look at the media narrative and they compare it to the real world, and it hits them that, oh, the media propaganda machine is lying. They've been lying for a long time. The media ignores 90% of the problems to focus on these 10%. At some point, the normie has got to awaken to what is going on. Hope springs eternal. And that's exactly what this show is doing. And, everything that's coming out of Hollywood now is, I guess it's good for YouTubers because it's all bad. I mean, it's all, you're going to see it. The stuff coming out of, so Disney owns Star Wars and Marvel, and everything coming out of those two subsidiaries is dog food. And then you look at Disney's bottom line, you're like, but Disney's doing just fine. Yeah, because they have a lot of old properties where they can effectively just subsidize Star Wars cancer that's coming out with all these new streaming shows. Girl power, Leslie Headland. So how's that going to sell? It's not, but we're subsidized by Disney because they're sitting on so much cash coming in from old properties. So it's like, that's got to be a fun business experiment where necessity is not, necessity being the mother of invention, all this kind of stuff. When you have to make money on a project, you're giving people what they'll pay for, not what the Twitter weirdos say they want. But they don't have to make money on these projects because Disney has so much cash. They can just continue to lose money on Marvel and Star Wars. Like really, they can they can lose a respectable amount of money because they've been losing a respectable amount of money on those subsidiaries, and it's not affecting their bottom line. That's how much money Disney has coming in the door, like Amazon in that regard. So they're telling you. They're telling you to focus on fictional issues of, blonde haired guys in ski masks with ARs running around. Like, that doesn't happen. That just doesn't happen. That's not the real issue that is affecting your average American, and everyone knows that. But if you say anything else, you're going to get canceled. So they stay in this never land, this Narnia land of things that never happened, to focus on these fictional issues. It's every burglar, don't say anything in the comments, burglar alarm company advertisement. You see somebody on Gab posted an image, and it was like 24 images of alarm company images of guys in ski masks and gloves, and they're as covered up as much as you could be, but the skin that you saw, gee, I'm in all these ads. I must be home invading in a lot of homes because every single one of the guys looks like me. Isn't that weird? Doesn't that really activate the elements? We should activate the elements. So the show seems to think that people who look like you and me are the problem. I wish we were somebody's problem, inshallah, but alas, we are not. A lot of stuff doesn't fit their narrative, and they have a lot of issues that they're not going to be able to deal with because they can't even discuss the parties involved. So they focus on the parties that aren't involved because that fits their narrative and it makes them feel good. I mean, I guess the beatings will continue until morale improves. I bet. Best of luck with this. Enjoy your your Hollywood soy slap, and enjoy your blue cities and insane leadership like in every blue city. It's like you're just getting more of the same of this kind of stuff, and it's all related. It's all like the same. It's the same mentality that goes into Hollywood that goes into San Francisco and Portland and Seattle. It's that same. Oh, things are getting worse. Oh, yeah, let's double down. Why wouldn't you go in the opposite direction? Bigot said what? I'm like, okay. Anyway, per capita, none of this kind of stuff happens. And they know that, and I know that, you know that, everyone knows that. Per capita, it's these large scale, oh, no, it's actually people in Idaho are plotting these large scale Malum and Say events. No, they're not. In a country of 1/3 of a billion people, that's a tiny fraction of an issue. It's not the issue. There are other more relevant and commonplace issues to focus on, but you're not going to focus on that. Bigot said, yeah. I mean, I guess accelerate it at this point. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. See you guys on the next episode.